Hello, I'm Ciarán Lynch and welcome to OviCast, the Teagasc Sheep podcast. Each episode will bring latest insights, advice and technical updates for the sheep industry. With ram sales in full swing across the country, we're joined in this week's episode by Mc Dermott, Sheep Ireland Manager, to discuss how to make use of genetic information when making your purchase and decisions. Kevin highlights the benefits that genetic improvement has for flock, and he discusses some of the results from non-farm validation work. We'll discuss what information is available for recorded rams and sales catalogues, with Kevin highlighting the key areas and explaining some of the key terms that we need to focus on. Now, with over 1,000 pedigree breeders recording in LambPlus, we discuss the use of the online ram search tool and how it can be a very useful asset to identify rams right across the country. We finish up this episode with Kevin discussing this year's Sheep Ireland multibreed ram sale. We start off, however, with Kevin highlighting how purchasing a new ram can have a big impact on a flock over a number of years.
They say the ram is half the flock, and that is really the case. They can have a massive impact on the flock, both positively and negatively. And that's something worth bearing in mind as well. If we go out and purchase a ram this year, especially if it's a ram for breeding replacement females, and that ram just doesn't have the genetics for fertility or milk or lamb vigor, and you're keeping daughters from that ram, it could take 3-4 years for you to figure that out, in which case, they've had a big influence on the flock, and it's going to take a long time to correct that. So, genetics has a big part to play in having, a profitable and sustainable sheep flock.
Kevin, so we're going to focus on this podcast, but looking at how to use that genetic information. But you've looked at some of the validation work of this over the last number of years. Like, what kind of an impact at a commercial level has using a high genetic merit animal by comparison to a low genetic merit animal have on a flock performance?
Yeah, so there's been quite a lot of work done on this now over the last recent years, and there's more research out this year again. And look, the results are always broadly the same, which is good, and that is, consistently using 5-star rams will increase the productivity of the flock and the financial performance of the flock, and it's across a whole range of measures. And I think that's something that sometimes gets lost, or perhaps is a little bit hard to wrap the head around. So when we look at the validation comparing 5-star animals, which is the top 20% of the breed, versus 1-star animals, which is the bottom 20% of the breed, the 5-star animals consistently outperform the 1-stars across all those key performance traits, such as your number of lambs born, your days to slaughter, your milk, and so forth. When we look at the profitability and difference, we're seeing up to €5 of a difference from consistently using your 5-star ram versus using non-recorded animals. We would consider non-recorded animals to be an average of 3 stars breed average. So that's €5 per ewe per year net profit. Now, where that profit comes from, it comes from a whole range of different areas. It comes from, an extra few lambs surviving at birth. So, lamb survival could be up to 1% better. It comes from better ewe milking up to 40 days. Maybe your lamb's been half kilo heavier. Your days to slaughter, you could be looking at lambs finishing over a week earlier. You're having more lambs born because the ewes are out of more fertile sires. So each of these traits, you could argue individually, the differences are rather small, but these are compounding. So you have more lambs surviving. You have more lambs to begin with, and more of them are surviving, and then they're going on to perform better than the others as well. And you compound that up, that comes to €5 net profit per ewe per year. Now that's not going to happen in year one. And, that's one of the big things about breeding. Breeding isn't going to be a silver bullet. If you had a bad year last year, breeding isn't going to solve it and make everything great this year. This is something for a flock has to say, right, well, I'm going to focus on improving the quality of the genetics in the flock. That's something I'm going to do over the next 5, 8, 10 years. And the way I'm going to do that is by consistently going out, and when I'm purchasing my next stock ram, getting a ram that's as high as possible as I can get on the index that's required.
And look, that's a continual thing. It's ongoing. Every year you purchase one, you're adding something hopefully better to the flock each year. And as you indicated at the beginning, sometimes if you don't use that information correctly, it could be a negative impact on the flock.
Yeah, and so we've I think a good example there. We've got two indexes. So we've got a replacement index and a terminal index. So and they serve two different purposes. So if you're going out to purchase a ram this year, the first question you need to ask yourself, regardless, I suppose, stars or breed or anything else, what do you need the ram for? Is this ram there to breed replacement females in the flock? And obviously there'll be some ram lambs that have to go to the factory, or is this ram's sole purpose to breed factory lambs? So if its sole purpose is to breed factory lambs, you're selecting ram based on the terminal index. So the terminal index, largely speaking, is giving you animals that are easy to lamb and fast growing, good carcass characteristics. Whereas the replacement index has those traits, but it also has your maternal traits, such as giving you more number of lambs born, more daughters milk. So for example, if you're going out using a low index, an animal that's got poor indexes or poor stars for replacement, and you're keeping daughters off that animal, you're probably bringing your flock in a negative direction. So 4 or 5 years down the line, you may find that your ewes aren't as productive.
So just let's put this in a practical context. So we're in a ram sales season. We have a busy couple of weeks ahead of us. For somebody who picks up a sales catalogue in one of the ram sales homes, looks at that sales card, you might take us down through what a couple of key things you need to look at on that sales card, and what information is it giving us?
Yeah, so look, one of the big advantages now, so pretty much every flock book and breed sale in the country now is on the Sheep Ireland database. So one of the big advantages, all the sales catalogues are in the same format. So regardless which sale you go to, it's always you're always interpreting the same information. So a couple of the key things I think to look at is the indexes. So as I just mentioned there, so that's one of the first things you need to ask yourself: what index are you selecting on, the replacement or the terminal? The second thing then, I suppose, to be looking at is the accuracy of the animal's evaluation. So the accuracy, I suppose, reflects how much data is behind that animal's evaluation, and essentially how confident or how much confidence you can place in that animal's evaluation. So like, if you see an accuracy, somewhere in the 20-30% range, we probably don't have a whole lot of information behind that evaluation. So based on everything we know, we give the animal we give it a star rating. But the more information we know about an animal and about a bloodline and how it's going to perform in the future, the higher that accuracy goes. So look, ideally, you're looking for an accuracy probably somewhere in the range of 55% plus 55-60%, I would be saying. There's another figure there that's quite useful as well, and it's called the DQI, and that stands for the Data Quality Index. Now, this Data Quality Index, or DQI, this is a reflection of the flock, so it's not necessarily on the animal, and it reflects how well the breeder that animal is coming from has performance recorded essentially over the last 12 months. So it ranks the flock on the quality of the data they record, the quantity, so did they record all the right information on all the animals, and the timeliness, so how quickly did that information get into the database. Again, you're ideally you're looking as high as possible, but I'd be saying you're looking at flocks somewhere in the region of 70% plus. And we've done some work on this as well, and flocks with the higher DQIs are actually making more genetic gain. And that's some bit of a factor, I would say, in terms of, because they're recording more information and the right type of information, they're able to make better breeding decisions within their own flocks, which in turn is meaning they're able to turn out better genetics for their customers. There's more information on the flock then in terms of genomics and genotyping. So quite a high percentage of ram lambs will be genotyped coming to the sales this year. So there's over a couple of thousand 2022 pedigree animals genotyped already this year. So once an animal is genotyped, when I say genotyped, I mean the breeder has taken a tissue sample from the ram's ear. They've sent that off to the lab for analysis. The lab sends those results to us, and we can then essentially look at the DNA profile of that animal and be able to much more accurately predict how that animal will perform in the future. So it's a relatively new technology in sheep. It's only been around for a couple of years. It's well known now, I suppose, on the cattle side. It's been around there for a little bit longer. But that's a really, really important tool, I suppose, because it can bring an animal from having an accuracy of around, say, the 40% mark right up to 60s and 70s. So it's really powerful in terms of trying to predict how that animal is going to perform, or how that animal's progeny is going to perform in the future. And you can see the animals that are genotyped because they've got a little symbol on the top right-hand corner of the catalogue. Looks like a little DNA symbol. So when you see that, you know the animal has been genotyped.
Kevin, if we go down into a little bit more detail, and you touched on some of these already, some of them sub-indexes, if a particular flock wants to improve in a certain area, they can actually look at them. So like a lamb survival, number of lambs born, daughter milk, some of them, the information is available on that animal for those indexes as well on that sales card.
Yeah, so like I suppose that the idea of displaying some of these sub-traits as well, it allows flocks to, I suppose, to tailor the type of ram they need. So look, I say the basic message is always, go out and get a high indexed animal on their replacement and terminal. But then a flock may say, for example, well, I want to specifically target, number of lambs born in my flock. I want my replacement females to be as fertile as possible. So then we would say, right, we'll go out and try and get, your 4 and 5 star replacement sire, but make sure it's, ranked as highly as possible on the number of lambs born index. So you're tailoring the genetics that you require for your flock to best match.
Look, in terms of looking at, sometimes it can be a bit off, but maybe all figures. Visually, it's quite easy though to rank them when you have that actually done on the sales card as well. So it's a nice little add-on if you're looking at saying, well, how well does this animal perform? You've shown that in the sales card.
Yeah, so there's bars essentially beside each of those 4 main traits, and so the further the further to the right that bar is filled up, the further to the right that bar goes, the higher that animal is ranked within the breed. So, for example, if we take if we take days to slaughter, for example, I'm looking here at a Charlie at the moment. It is minus 21 days. That animal's in the top 2% of the breed. So you're getting kind of, when you see that bar filled all the way over to the right, you're getting the best growth genetics there is available for that breed. The other point might be of interest to people as well, is in terms of the actual values on the catalogue. So beside the replacement index, the terminal index, you'll see a euro value, and that euro value is actually comparable across breeds. So you can compare your Texel to your Charlie, your Suffolk to your Vendine. If you're just going out looking for the best replacement index or best terminal index, you can, what most flocks do is they do choose breed first, but you don't have to choose breed first. You can just go with and get the best genetics to suit you.
It's a useful add-on to it.
One of the points I suppose I think it's worthwhile mentioning as well, and maybe I should mention this at the very beginning, Ciarán, is that we're the first to acknowledge that stars aren't be all and end all. So people may go out there this year and they'll be going around a sales ring and they'll see an animal that's 5 stars on the replacement index, and they may not like the look of the animal, or they may think that there's something about the animal that's not right for them. That's fine. So the first thing that the purchaser should be happy with is the animal itself. So if an animal has a crooked leg or is something physically not right with them, all the stars in the world isn't going to make up for that. If an animal's not able to breed, you got to keep walking past. So the stars is a tool to help you get the best genetics for your flock. They're not the be all and end all, but they should have the stars as well, though.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. It has to be physically correct and fit for the purpose. Kevin, always we'd hope if you go to a sale, you get what you want, you're able to bring home what you need. If you're not, though, there is the option there, like if a RAM search tool online is something that will allow you to find what you're looking for in different counties, different breeds, and there's probably a bit more information to be had with it. You might just explain how you go about using it and what you can find out on it.
Yeah, so the first thing I suppose is where to find it. So you can either get it on the Sheep Ireland website, which is www.sheep.ie, or you can get it on ramsearch.ie. So this is a great tool to, I suppose, especially for farmers that are potentially looking at doing maybe on-farm sales, or to purchase on-farm from breeders. So every performance recorded ram is up on the RAM search, and you can filter through them to get, I suppose, what best suits you. So you're probably going to put in something in terms of location. So you'll select your county and maybe surrounding counties. You'll select the index that you're most interested in. So you might say, right, well, I'm interested in a terminal sire. I only want this ram to breed factory lambs. So you'll select, must be 5 stars terminal, for example. And then you may say, like the catalogue, you may apply even more filters in terms of but I'm really interested in survival, or I'm really interested in days to slaughter. So then that will narrow your list down a lot. And when you click into those animals, you'll get all the same information that you do in the catalogue, but you actually get more information on the RAM search as well. So if anyone that is familiar from the catalogue from previous years, we display those main 4 sub-traits: your lamb survival, days to slaughter, number of lambs born, and daughter's milk, which are the main traits largely behind the replacement and terminal index. But what some people may not know is there's actually 16 traits behind the replacement index. So there's a lot of other traits built in there as well. So things like ewe barrenness, or lamb vigor, ewe mature weight, carcass conformation, all these types of information. So even if someone's looking at an animal in a catalogue and they're trying to make their final decisions, if you're in a position to look that animal up on the RAM search, and you'll get even more information on that animal, which might help you make the decision. And the other thing you'll get on the RAM search, so you find, you apply your filters and maybe you get the list of animals. It'll give you the breeder's information, so you can contact that breeder and say, look, I'm interested in RAM ABC. They'll probably tell you, right, arrange a meeting some evening where you can go over and view the animal, or they might say, I'm bringing that animal to the sale in Rafo next Saturday. You can get them there. So it's a great tool there to find the animals. We actually made a change last year as well, or not a change, but an update, whereby instead of searching for animals, you can search for breeders. So, again, you can go on there, and I'll stick to my home county. So you can go on there, for example, and say, look, I'm looking for a Suffolk breeder in Donegal, and it'll bring you back the list of Suffolk breeders, their performance recording. And again, that just helps maybe facilitate those on-farm sales, as opposed to if that's what someone is interested in.
And look, with over 1,000 recording, Kevin, there's plenty of choice around the country.
Yeah, so the performance recording is at its highest level now ever, and thankfully we've been able to say that now for a long number of years. It's going up every year. The number of performance recorded flocks has increased by 30% in the last 2 years, which is fantastic. And I hope that continues to grow. And I would expect that it will grow again next year, which is great for everyone, breeders, farmers, industry alike, because it has so many benefits. The more breeders that are involved, obviously gives farmers a wider choice, and there's more rams available to choose from. But on the flip side, it also means more data flowing into the database and flowing into the national genetic evaluations. And the more data that's in there, the better the rankings will perform. So it's in a really strong position at the moment.
No, it's a positive for the industry. Kevin, look, some breed societies have already held some of their premier sales. A lot of them are going to take place over the next week or two. You're also having your multi-breed sale again this year. You might just give us a bit of details about that.
Yeah, so look, Ciarán, this is a sale we've I think we're in our 12th year now of this sale. So this is a multi-breed sale. So we've got 5, 6, 7 different breeds at the sale, and all the animals at the sale, I suppose, they have a really, really high criteria to meet. So first of all, they have to be all performance recording flocks. They have to, these breeders have a lot of work to do, I suppose, even just to get into the sale. And that's something I think that commercial farmers, our buyers at the sale need to bear in mind, that these breeders have done a lot of work to get here and need to be rewarded for that. So these flocks are all the animals in this sale are all 5 stars on either their placement or the terminal index. The breeders have had the animals genotyped, which is a cost to the breeders. So that means that the evaluations are pretty much as accurate as we can get them at this point in time. All the animals in the sale are verified to their sire via DNA. So there'll be no issues in terms of sire errors, which again makes the evaluations more robust. And the DQI that I mentioned earlier in terms of the ranking of the flock, all the flocks in the sale must have a DQI above 70%. So, the breeders coming to the sale have recorded a lot of data. They've went to expense, I suppose, in terms of genotyping, all for the purpose, I suppose, of being able to, give the farmers coming to the sale the best genetics possible to bring into their flocks. So it's the largest catalogue ram sale in the country. So, we'll be expecting somewhere in the region of 350 entries this year. We're moving back to Tullamore this year again as well. So we had a hiatus to Kilkenny for a couple of years. We're back in Tullamore this year again. So hopefully it was as a result of the pandemic that we had to move. So we're back to Tullamore again now, and hopefully we'll see some more familiar faces there that we'd seen over the years, and hopefully it'll be a great day. The sale is on the same as always, the fourth Saturday of August, which is the 27th this year. And look, it's lining up hopefully to be a great day. So it's good for farmers to get as big a choice of 300 odd rams across, say, five or six different breeds. So it's a good chance to pick up all your ram needs in the one sale.
Kevin, busy couple of weeks ahead for everybody. Thanks very much for coming on. It was great getting that update.
No problem at all. Always great catching up here.
Okay, we're going to leave the episode there at this point. As Kevin has indicated at the start, purchasing a new ram can have a big impact on a flock, particularly if that ram is going to produce replacements. That impact is going to last for a long number of years, whether it be good or bad. So it's very important to make use of all information when you're making them purchasing decisions, whether it be taking the ram information in the sales card or looking at an online ram search tool, which I've included a link to in the description of this podcast. That's it for me for this episode. Again, for any updates on sheep program, keep an eye on our Twitter page at Teagasc Sheep. I'm Ciarán Lynch. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and get notified of any new episodes.